Hi. I just want to hop on here and try to offer some encouragement to the good people of this world who have for so long been abused and really tortured and tormented by the cruel and evil people of this world. Uh, there's some really destructive and cruel cults, you could call them religious type groups in this world, such as the COVID tyranny supporters. Um, in by my belief, the supporters of the state of Israel tend to fall into this group also. Um, you know, and the suffering that's been experienced at the hands of these people is really tremendous. Um, and it can seem like the days are dark and that there is no hope and there's no bright tomorrow. But I want to assure you that there is, because, you know, the people who are so cruel and who are so abusive, they're also very arrogant. And they're arrogant to the point that they don't ever listen or pay attention to people like me or people like you, or really anyone who is outside of that little religion that they're a part of. And because of that, they give themselves many tactical disadvantages. Primarily, they're going to become unable to fund the abuses that they want to fund, because the US bond market and the US dollar and the US government's ability to finance its expenditures are going to collapse. Uh, so it's really just a matter of time until that event happens. But, it seems that the people in Gaza couldn't wait for that. And they said, enough is enough, and we're just not going to take this abuse any longer. And so they've launched this aggression now. Um, and so that's happened. And so we are where we are, and we can't change what's already happened. So the question is, how do we move forward um, as the good people of this planet, as the kind people, as those who support freedom? And one suggestion that I have for Hamas is to make a decision to release the hostages that they are holding that aren't Israelis, that are, Americans, that are, if they got any Europeans, British people, to release these people, to let them go home, um, as a gesture of goodwill, not in exchange for anything, but simply as a gesture of goodwill. And the reason I think this would be a really effective thing is multifold. One aspect of this is, in America, in Europe, there are definitely hardline supporters of Israel and of Palestine, but there's also a whole lot of people who are kind of in the middle, or kind of see a bit of both sides of it or whatever. And I think by doing that, you can gain goodwill with that very large kind of part of the population that's kind of in between. Because when those people are reading, oh, you're holding American hostages, now they're like, wow, you hate us. Like, and yeah, like the American government has done a lot of really shitty fucking things, including supporting Israel and all the cruelty and abuse and torture that it has carried out. But not every American citizen is choosing um, that and supports that. And like I said, a lot of people, they live their lives and not that involved in politics. And I just think a gesture like that could be a really powerful one. And it can send a message that, it's not the West as a whole that is hated, that it's specifically Israel that is the problem. Um, it can discourage these other Western governments from getting involved in the conflict, and it can make them look worse if they do get involved in the conflict, despite that gesture of goodwill. There's not a lot that Hamas has available to it right now as far as moves it can make. They've got the Gaza Strip sieged off. They're basically trying to murder the 2 million citizens that live there. And as it stands, they're probably going to be successful if nothing changes. Because as of right now, Hezbollah has not officially entered this conflict. Iran has not entered this conflict. None of the other allies in the area have officially entered this conflict, other than a few little border skirmishes with Lebanon that kind of sound like they might have gotten resolved yesterday. And so right now, there's 2 million people in Gaza. Half of them are fucking children. And Israel is basically trying to genocide this entire group of people. That's what they want to do. And they're acting out of emotion, they're acting out of hatred, they're not using reason. Um, and because of that, in addition to their arrogance and their unwillingness over time to consider other perspectives, that weakens them. It weakens their intelligence. It weakens their decision making. Um, and I mean, it's at the point right now they're willing to sacrifice their own citizens, the hostages, that the Israeli hostages, they're willing to let you do whatever you want to those people just for the sake of being able to murder those children they want to murder in Gaza. Um, and so, Israel itself has political division going on. Not everyone in Israel is in strong support of the Israeli government. And this is different. In decades past, they had much more unified support within Israel. Now that's more split. And so I think that kind of a gesture can just make a difference. And I think it could be a really big deal. And it could start moving things in a better direction than where they are right now. And, as things evolve, different opportunities will emerge. But to me, if I was to offer one bit of advice or one suggestion, that's what it would be. And I wanted to just put that out there. I know not a lot of people watch these videos, but I think the few people who do watch these videos are really powerful and really intelligent people, because I challenge people. I say things that people don't want to hear, and it doesn't matter if you're a libertarian, it doesn't matter if you're a right, a left. I'm going to say things that you're not going to agree with, or that you're not going to have heard before, and that are going to challenge you to question your own beliefs. And so if you've stuck with me, if you're someone who's strong enough and mature enough and intelligent enough to have stuck with me and continue to give me an ear, you're probably a pretty fucking advanced being yourself, who's probably got certain influence in this world. Everything I think I mentioned comes down to power. It comes down to purchasing power. Um, Love has power too, man. And I don't know. Maybe I won't go anywhere else with that. Well, I think humans are capable of responding to compassion when they view compassion, and releasing those hostages would be an act of compassion um, that I think could help to build the bridge that ultimately will need to be bridged between the Muslim world and the West, because ultimately we do need to coexist in this world. Um, I want a free world, uh, but there's a lot of animosity, and I think, love is a resource, is a something that everybody can dig down and find, and I think it's a really powerful resource. And to be sitting there, to be getting bombarded, to be getting tortured, to be getting tormented, to be getting um, abused for all these decades by this abuser, and then to turn around and to say, here's my love, here's my compassion, here's me offering a what's the word, a branch or a whatever it is. I can't think of the expression right now, but I think that could be really powerful. It could really move a lot of people. And so anyway, you know, for those who aren't trapped in Gaza or in the West Bank right now, you know, or in another, in prison, in another highly restricted. I mean, everyone's restricted to a certain degree by government, but people have different degrees of freedom. I think at the individual level, and even if you're living in those places, you got to do what you got to do to try to take care of yourself. And if there's anyone you care about that you bring along for the ride, um, you got to do what you can, because I promise you, this bond market will collapse. These abusers will lose their power. Um, and when they do, we're going to build an unbelievable fucking world, far beyond anything that's ever been experienced on this planet. I fucking promise you that. And I'm writing a book that's going to paint a picture of such a world. And if something happens to me, I got someone who's real intelligent that's going to pick up that job where I left off. Um, so I feel like that's a promise I can make to you. And I want to give you some hope, and I want to give you a bit of love of my own. And, I've listened to a lot of people, man, and I've gained a lot of understanding through empathy, through compassion. And this is a gift I have for you at this time. So, love you guys. Take care.